This video is about how to create sci-fi cities using the Unity3d engine. The link to the constructor itself is in the description. In this video, I use the standard Unity3d pipeline. The first thing I did was to create a project. Next, go into the package manager. Install post-processing package version 3.2.2. Then install Sci Fi City Constructor version 1.02. After importing the folder, Models Navepros appears. Open the City Template Scene from the Sci-Fi Scenes folder. If everything is done in the right order, we'll see the post-processing package work in the form of contact shadows. Now it's worth setting the range of rendering shadows from the light source directional. There is also a template scene for diagonal streets at 45 degrees. In a later video, I will talk about these roads in more detail. To optimize performance in the tower scene, I use a linear fog, so the camera parameter, clipping planes far, and the project parameter, shadow distance, are the same as the fog range. Any of these scenes can be used as a starting point for creating a new city. Duplicate the template scene and rename it. Forbid the selection of water, sky, and clouds in the scene. Remove everything unnecessary. The folders that start with the suffix textures _ store the textures of the current setting. In the future, I plan to expand the types of textures for these models. At this point, we have two constructors. The first is the road constructor in the Sci Fi Road Constructor 38 inches folder. The second is the city constructor in the Sci Fi City folder. Inside there are folders, prefabs, with prefabs. In the scene, we will use the prefabs since they are already configured. We find the prefab of the L crossroads and put it in the scene. We set its height to 8.6 units and we will use this height on the whole road system. Suffix 38 in the name of the folder of the road builder denotes the step of the grid that is used. For convenience, we will put a discrete step of movement at a shift of 38 units in the Unity3d editor. This will allow us to shift our road prefabs so that no gaps are formed between them. We close the space between the roads with blocks. For this purpose, it is convenient to use vertex snap. Lay out the block prefab in the scene and transform it. With the V key pressed, grab the outermost vertex of the quarter and drag it to the outermost vertex of the road we are blocking. Once the prefabs are accurately placed on the scene, you can disable the extra nodes in them. Then the prefabs can be duplicated with the new settings. Let's disable the edge quarters on the roads, which are unnecessary. When using the rotation tool, I hold down Ctrl for a discrete rotation step. All of this speeds up the process considerably. As I mentioned before, it's easier to duplicate an already customized prefab from the scene than to lay out a new one each time. Let's turn off the road fences in the prefab and put new and smaller ones in their place. Since there are a lot of prefabs in the scene, let's group them by type. Each time I create a new node in the group, I put a checkmark, static. This will allow us to not have to transform each frame at runtime, which will allow us to reuse large blocks from the prefabs in the future. The peculiarity of the building blocks is that when their size and shape change, the pixel density of texture on them remains almost constant, as well as the height and size of the border geometry is constant. This allows you to assemble buildings from prefabs without worrying about UVs and details, window sizes, and floor heights. No matter how you combine the prefabs without changing the scale, the result will look seamless and in the same style. Once the roads are ready, let's start creating the structures. Building prefabs are best used without the discrete move step, turn it off. When creating buildings, each subsequent prefab is simply made a child of the previous one. This improves control over the entire building and allows you to reuse a prefab hierarchy. Once the structure is ready, fill in the boring areas with small details so as to accentuate the overall shape. Do not forget about the vegetation in the city. After everything looks ready, it is necessary to calculate the occlusion culling to not draw objects that are not visible from the camera. Reset the default values and press Bake. Check. The flight should be smooth and the frame rendering time small. Give me likes and comments, so I know I need to keep making videos about creating cities. Also, I need to know what prefabs are needed so I can add them to the constructor. The constructor can be found at the link in the description.